Alrighty then. You are tuned in to Reading with Drew. Yes, is what I've been calling it. We are currently reading Perloo the Bold by AVI, Abby, whatever. And we are currently on chapter 14, A Discovery. So let's see what they discover. Shrieking with fright and surprise, Perloo twisted and turned as he tumbled down, with nothing to grasp but wet, slippery snow. The more he struggled, the more he fell. The farther he fell, the darker his surroundings grew until, with a jarring thump, he came to an abrupt stop. For a few moments he lay still, eyes closed, dazed. Maybe I'm dead, he said out loud. He felt himself all over. Nothing hurt, nothing broken. He opened his eyes. He was alive, but surrounded by snow. The only light, barely a glimmer, was high above. For the rest, black murk enveloped him. Though he did feel warmer, he had the good sense to know it was a delusion. He was merely out of the wind. From a great distance, he heard Lucabara. Perloo! She was calling. Where are you? Down here, he shouted, all the while thrashing about to clear the snow and give himself a large breathing space. Lucabara continued to call, her shouts growing louder and softer by turn. The next moment he heard a squawk, and Lucabara came tumbling down. Stunned, she lay a short way off. Perloo struggled to her side. Are you all right? I think so, she said weakly. Where are we? Down some snow hole or crevice. The proclamation! Lucabara cried and dove into her smock. It's all right, she said with relief. She looked out. Perloo, she said. If we don't get out of here, we'll soon freeze to death. Pushing and digging, they worked to enlarge the area into which they had fallen. As they struggled, Perloo struck hardness. It seems to be some kind of wall here, he announced. Lucabara felt about with her paws. Rock face, she announced. We can't dig through that. But rock is never completely smooth. There may be some cracks, some gaps, maybe even a cave, something into which we could squeeze. Our smocks might keep us alive till morning. Working in what had become total darkness, Perloo felt about. The more he worked, the more he sensed that they had fallen into a gorge, perhaps a narrow canyon. It was while groping over the rock surface that Perloo touched something round, hard, and smooth. Feeling about carefully, he decided it was a wooden ring affixed to the wall. Lucabara, he called. I found something. Lucabara pawed the ring. A grip, she said excitedly. Maybe it's attached to a door. Perloo hesitated. Lucabara, he warned. Monomers don't use rings on doors. Well, we can't stay here, Lucabara replied, and gave the ring a jerk. Nothing happened. Come on, she urged. Give a paw. The two pulled as hard as they could. This time there was some movement. Again, Lucabara urged. With a sharp crack, the sound of ice breaking, a door opened a bit. Beyond, they could see faint, glimmering light. Perloo and Lucabara exchanged looks. If there was light, someone or thing had to be inside. Pull again, Lucabara said, but more softly than before. The door creaked open. Lucabara squeezed inside first. Perloo followed. With care, they shut the door behind them, but not so tightly that if the need came, it would be hard to open quickly. Exhausted, Perloo and Lucabara squatted down, took deep breaths, and rubbed their toes and ears. Only then did they look about. They were in an immense cave, dry and warm, with a floor of hard-packed earth. Walls were rough, black volcanic rock. From the ceiling hung stalactites uh, that looked like jagged, gleaming teeth. I said it wrong. Do you think something lives here? Lucabara asked, feeling the need to keep her voice low. Bears, perhaps mountain lions, or fellbarts. They live in caves. A startled look came to Lucabara's eyes. I don't know much about fellbarts, said, except that they're hateful, cowardly creatures. We have found them and fought them in many wars, Perloo agreed. He wished he could see better. The cave was too gloomy. In all your readings, Lukabar asked, did you ever discover what makes them hate us so? It's the land we feud about, borders, who can live where. To tell the truth, sometimes it's we monomers who are greedy. I doubt that, Nukabara said. It's what I read, Perloo returned. Nukabara stood up. Come on, she said. We better see where the cave leads. Reluctant as ever, Perloo tagged along, hopping forward silently. His ears, no longer numb from the storm, were quivering, trying to make some sense of curious sounds he was beginning to detect. He also smelled something strange. There's something bad, he whispered. I know, she acknowledged. Perloo pointed into a corner of the cave. Look! There lay a pile of old white bones. Meat eaters, Lukabar said with a barely suppressed shudder. They continued on, but more cautiously. The farther they went, the more distinct were the sounds and smells. At first, Perloo could not make sense of it. Then it occurred to him that the noise was like a heartbeat, as if some great beast was before them. He checked over his shoulder to make certain the way back was unobstructed, just in case. They reached a pile of boulders jumbled together. Through the caps of the tumbled mass, they could see a large open area. In the middle, logs were burning. On racks over the fire. Great chunks of meat were being roasted. Scattered bones lay strewn about the ground. The air was smoky. 20 short, lean creatures with coyote-like heads, hairy human-like bodies, and bushy tails that continually twitched were sitting about the fire. Their panting mouths revealed lolling tongues and fangs that glistened by the light of the fire. In their 5-fingered clawed hands were clubs made from heavy bones. They were felbarts. The felbarts were wearing wood, bowl-shaped helmets in which holes had been cut to accommodate their short, pointy ears. Their bodies were covered by leather jerkins, over which wood bibs armor had been fitted. At the head of the group sat a particularly elderly felbart. The leather jerkin that covered his body was decorated with porcupine quills and small multicolored stones. He alone wore no helmet. Small in stature, his long, thin coyote face had a sharp, runny black nose, large dark eyes, and pointy ears. His scanty whiskers were gray. Though fur-covered, the left side of his face revealed a scar. His tail, what Perloo could see of it, was ragged. His hands and feet were gnarled. He was missing teeth. Before him was a drum that he was beating steadily with a bone club. After playing for a while, he lifted his snout and began a yelping chant. At the time of cold winds, when icy winds wither all, when the only colors are hues of white, when the earth becomes as hard as stone, our hearts are better prepared for long marches and hard battles. We ready ourselves for the struggle against our cruel monomer enemies who seek to take our lands from us. But our Felbart hearts are strong and ready, ready to fight for Felbart freedoms. As the old Felbart continued to beat his drum, the other Felbarts barked his words. Now one, now another, arched a head back and broke into a deep-throated frenzy of yip-yapping and long, drawn-out howling that reverberated through the cave. Perloo, heart hammering, could hardly breathe from fright. Wanting to get Lucabar's attention, he turned toward her. It was then that he saw 7 Felbart warriors, armed with bone clubs, creeping stealthily in their direction. Finally, we get to see the Felbarts. Haha. And I was kind of close. They're like coyote people with clubs. Not wolf people, but I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Sort of. So yeah, ooh, I'm excited. It's getting good. I wonder what's gonna happen. Probably like throw him in prison, and they like Perloo talks his way out of it or something. I don't know. good stuff, though. I'm so excited. That was a good chapter. Not a lot of dialogue, though. I mean, a little bit. Just nothing like too serious. It was like leading up to them, to the Fellbards. Them, it's just somehow opening the door and going into their cave. I doubt that. I bet it was locked. In the real world, it would have been locked. Okay, man, story writers. Just kidding. All right, so that was Perloo the Bold, chapter 14, A Discovery. And I hope everyone is doing good, enjoying their beautiful Thursday out. It's really nice out. And I will read it on the next one. Chapter 15. Let's see what it is. The Fellbards. So, we're definitely going to find out more about them. The coyote people. All right. Ta-ta and have a wonderful day.